It's a meeting of bad guys. Welcome back to Writer's Theory. I'm James Winterthorn, and I'm going to share my 61st writing session and my attempt to write a novel in less than 90 days. Today, we're picking up right where we left off yesterday, where the main character, Cole Mercer, has been detained by the sheriff of Canyon City, and is in a very vulnerable position here. And we're going to pick up where we left off there. This effort today, I want to make sure the tension stays high, that we're not really sure what's going to happen in this particular scene. We know that this is part of the past. It's kind of a flashback, and that I'm tying the timeline together. So we know that Cole's going to survive. We just don't know what's going to happen in this particular part of the story. So I want there to be an element of danger or uncertainty. So let's see how well I accomplish that in the first part of day 61. And so you can see I went back and adjusted some of the things that had happened there. I know in yesterday's video I said Cole was thrown in jail. Well, that hadn't quite happened yet. And that happens, of course, here in the first parts of the writing session for day 61 here. And yeah, I wanted this to be like, he really didn't have much of a choice. Like, he gave up his guns because the sheriff was charming enough to do that to convince him to do that. And now he is thrown him into a jail cell. Yeah, and I wanted them to have like a realistic interaction back and forth. I like that the sheriff is kind of a reasonable, charming person, so we can have good dialogue back and forth. As they both like try to have conversations with each other that push one into acting, but they're both pretty set in their ways. I'm really trying to keep this realistic. I don't know exactly what this would be like, only from what I've seen in movies from a jail cell in a sheriff's office. So anyway, I wanted to keep it realistic. Didn't need to get too deep into it, but still wanted to have the experience be generally an unpleasant one, but not awful. He's really just waiting. That's really the downside of the experience, is just being caught up in a cell while he's waiting to be interrogated for some reason. And I think we're going to find out why in the next part of day 61. But here it was a lot of dialogue. It was really stating the purpose for what's happening here. So I wanted Henry's interactions with Mercer to tell part of that story from the law enforcement side of Canyon City, and try to have it be believable and still like a good conversation between the two of them. Like, they respect each other. So I like how I did that. Well, let's see what happens with the rest of this period of incarceration and the rest of day 61. So I didn't do a scene break, just carried it on, where he fell asleep, woke up. And now we have the introduction of all the bad guys I prefaced at the beginning. And they're not all necessarily bad guys, but they are antagonistic toward our main character. So from that perspective, they are the bad guys. And so they're having their they're questioning him. I didn't want this to be like a interrogation with torture or beatings or anything. I really just needed to tell the story about who these guys are and what they're doing with it, or why they have arrested him and what they want. So basically, I wanted this to be like Shaw knows that somebody might come looking for him, because those orders went missing, the year before, and somebody might be out to get him. And it turns out he was right, because Mercer shows up just like he had thought he might, and now these guys, their actions and concerns were justified. And so I wanted to get right to it, and have it be have the thing that they're holding him for be apparent. I don't need to drag it out and hide it from the characters and draw it out for the reader. That's not necessary. I can get right to the point. They're looking for the package that went missing, that they're pretty confident that he has. Would they know that he has this thing? Possibly. It's easier for me to write it thinking that they do, and thinking that it's a genuine liability for Shaw. So I wanted to just get right to that point. So with that, let's do today's line of the day. Seems to me like ain't no one a Confederate anymore. So I pulled this line out. This is Mercer responding to the questioning of who he is, and really noting that the war is over, and this identifying marker for him maybe isn't as relevant as it was just a year before. And also just him giving some sass back to these men who are questioning him. So I like that. It's good. It shows our character a little bit, and his attitude toward what's happening. And so for that reason, it's today's line of the day. So we left off. We're still in this questioning phase with Mercer. So we're going to continue with that tomorrow and see what these gentlemen plan to do with their new prisoner, and carry on the story with that in mind. So if you want to see what happens to Cole Mercer, please like and subscribe, and I'll share that with you tomorrow.